Ask an Atheist table. And this guy comes up, he's on crutches, right? He's a homeless guy on crutches. And he comes up and he's talking about how prayer works and how prayer answers. Because yesterday a stranger gave him $100, and he was saying he prayed for some money and the guy gave him $100, and see, prayer works. But he's standing there on crutches. If prayer worked, why would he be on crutches? Yeah. And I asked him, I said, where was your God when you ended up on crutches? And of course, he said it was mysterious ways, that this is his trial, this is his judgment. And of course, God always gets the credit and never the blame. So what do you do? And about that time, another guy came up who was there, apparently a preacher, and they both started haranguing me. The preacher was a nice guy. It was really mostly the other guy. But it was like double teaming me. And then after a while, they moved off and sat down and did some praying on there. I could tell they were praying. But this is America. This is what you can expect when you come to America. Don't think that if you come to America, you're going to be escaping that kind of stuff. No, it goes on all the time. Matter of fact, I was in the closet, the atheist closet, for 30 years before I came out, just because of that kind of stuff. So I've been an atheist for almost 50 now, though.
Yeah. Do you talk a little bit about that on your book too? About your coming out of atheist?
Yes, I have. Well, I have a chapter on my book, which I took from my blog. It's called what is it? How I deconverted, or my deconversion from Christianity.
Yeah.
It's you can see pictures of myself and my brothers when we were just toddlers, and then I go into how we were raised in Tennessee, and how I met Hilda, who was my first atheist I ever met in college, which was after the Navy. I mean, I went all the way through high school, into the Navy, came out, got the GI Bill, went to college before I ever met an atheist. So until then, I didn't even know that it was an option not to believe. Until I met someone who didn't actually believe, I thought, well, can't not believe. Everybody has to believe. But I got over that pretty quick. We ended up getting married, and we stayed together nearly 20 years. But becoming active, is he? Your baby?
Yeah, she's coming out of her show. Yeah. But yeah, how you think this your wife in the case helped you? Like, you were already, like, she helped you to recognize you were already really atheist, or she really broke through your beliefs? How
Well,
was
sorry about the clock going off back there in the background.
Oh, no problem.
But no, when I met her, she had skipped her senior year in high school, and she was 17, and her father was a deacon in the church back home. So she had read the Bible. She knew all the theology and dogma behind Christianity, and didn't buy any of it. She didn't believe it, any of it. So as a believer, we started having conversations, just like believers do with me nowadays. I would ask her questions, and she'd give me answers, and the answers made a lot more sense than the answers that the preachers would give me. And at the same time, I was going through college, so I was taking anthropology and cosmology and physics and geology and all of the stuff that were pointing to that the answers in the Bible, origin stories and things, were just wrong. So when you put the two and two together,
Yeah.
My faith per se didn't last very long. And I always distrusted preachers. They always had their hands out, and they were always glad handing you, trying to get your money, get you into church, and get you under their control. And I pretty much rebelled against all of that. Did not like church, did not like religion, even though I didn't know it was an option not to believe. But once I found out it was an option, I didn't stay in it long, that's for sure.
Yes, yes, it's really. It's because when you mentioned in the show with me and Ty, you mentioned like, oh, I was in the closet, and then I met the first atheist that became to be your wife, and you told that story. I related and empathize a little bit to it because my husband was the one that helped me to break through the door of the closet. I
Yeah,
was like
yeah,
already like pretty much an atheist for a while, and I always thought about this after I start calling myself an atheist. I was like,
uh-huh,
I was an atheist for so long. Why did I have so much trouble to accept the title and to use it? You
right,
know. So
right.
he was the one that came and said, like, you just pointed some things that I already believed it, but I did not want to even argue or discuss about. I remember many times talking to him about those things and say like, yeah, no, I think like you, but I don't think we should be talking about it. You know,
Uh-huh.
it's such a
Well,
sensitive subject, and living in Brazil and receiving all that prejudice of like not, when you just say you don't like something about the Bible or you don't agree, you very badly viewed, and people start treating you different. So
well, sure.
I was indoctrinated in the way that I would say like, don't talk about it. Just
Uh-huh.
don't try to not bring this type of subject. Like I would even like, I came my last years of high school, and then coming into society as a professional and working, as a worker, and being like in other type of groups, like your colleagues at work. It's very different from like high school and college and school itself. So
Uh-huh.
you see that sometimes like the social pressure is so much more influent and powerful over us. So I was into that mode of like religion, uh, some type of soccer sports stuff, and politics, and there were the taboos that I would not try to bring up in a conversation because I knew was too controversial,
Right.
and I would try to avoid.
Yeah.
And
You don't mind using the label now, though, do you? Calling yourself an atheist?
no, no, and in fact, I completely came over and turned the table, flipped the table over on those subjects, and now I'm like the one that tried to seek the controversial
Oh, yeah, yeah.
conversations.
Right, right. No, I would not water down my atheism by denying the label just because it might offend the very people who made it a curse in the first place. The religious people who tell everybody else that atheism is terrible and its people are terrible and all that. Well, they're the people who had made it a dirty word. And I'm not going to avoid using it. It's a very good word. It's a very fitting appellation, and
Yeah,
it represents one of the greatest accomplishments of our life, to succeed against religious upbringing and the collusion of large segments of society and the bigotry of those who
exactly.
question religion, who don't, or question you when you question religion. I'll put it that way. So yeah, it's something I'm very proud of. I'm not going to use the word.
Yeah, no, I'm really proud of the atheist term, but and in fact, it's an important discussion nowadays because a lot of people misunderstand the meaning, and it's like inherent to the word, like to the word itself. So
Uh
there's
huh.
not more than that, but it has been taken badly, and in other ways, we were just talking about this in the Street Epistemology League discussion group the other
Uh
day
huh.
about atheism, and some I would say campaigns that were made to try to fight the religious freedom or religious benefits that
The gang
some
pain. The what?
propose today.
The what? The gang
uh,
pain.
Shiva, please. Sorry, the noise
That's
is really
okay.
loud at
Yeah.
back. Um, I don't know if you have heard about, for example, the Pastafarian group.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was one of the discussions just like 2 weeks ago in the group Street Epistemology League. Someone brought it up, and people were taking it seriously. And
Oh yeah.
I've seen, in fact, uh, I would say, I believe the people that did something like that would in fact being dishonest with the idea, or maybe
Yeah.
using it in a bad way just to mislead it.
Right.
But because I've seen, like, for example, I've listened to a radio talk in the public radio show here in Canada, talking about Pastafarians, but as they were some religious group trying to really push what they are made for, is like they are made to mock the religious freedom and trying to push the boundaries of religious freedom, so the religious people can see how bad it is to have
Right.
religious
It's just
freedom,
an
your own
analogy.
rights, special rights. Shiva, please. Shiva,
I
no,
think that
jumping.
the original person who brought up or created it was sending in a letter to a school district who was wanting to teach creationism, and they said, "Yeah, I think you should teach creationism. Be sure to teach the flying spaghetti monster. You know how he created everything."
Yes.
And then he went on the whole letter, saying, yeah, let's do it. Why should we stop with just Christianity or Muslim? Let's teach it all. But yeah, that was how it was originally started, and it's really taken off now. Of course,
Yes.
I don't really like it that much. I mean, I think it's great, but I think it's so silly that the religious point to it and say, look how silly these atheists are. And I think it can give us a bad name in some context, in some religious groups. But at the same time, it does serve a point, and if they would accept the point that it's making.
The problems, I think, like some religious people really took that serious, or trying deliberately to mislead the idea
Right.
and saying like, no, they are serious, when
Yeah.
they are in fact just trying to point, like, like they use some funny things around the
Uh,
religious Pastafarian group,
yeah.
and they like, oh, you guys are ridiculous using those things, and it's like,
Right.
but that is what we want to point to you. You do look ridiculous using whatever
Yeah.
hats
This is true.
or
Yeah.
rosaries. That's what we're trying to point to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yes, and I, in fact, I've seen, and I was scared when I saw people misusing it in that way. I was like, I don't know if that was intentionally,
Yeah.
with the purpose of
Making it look silly.
make it look silly, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think the original idea, even in the end, even when they're like, oh no, look how they look silly, it's like, yeah, that is our point.
Yeah. True.
I
Because
think
their beliefs are silly, and we're um, what do you call it? Using irony to point it out.
Oh, Shiva, can you bring that to me, please, before you break it out? Please. She has my glasses. She has broken one of the side,
Oh no.
and I'm trying to avoid the other one. Just try to save this. Just a second.
Okay.
Come, baby. Just a second. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I have a partial.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, and now
Yeah.
it's my last one, so I have to kind of use it
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
now. So yeah, but one of the discussions was about that. I think there is a lot going on all the beliefs, not just religious beliefs, because we are passing through one of the discussions I was talking to you about. Maybe we could explore
Uh-huh.
is the idea of the conspiracy theories that are so high up nowadays with the Epstein death, you know.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And I've watched a lot of people talking about how some conspiracy theories end up becoming to be truth. But in this moment, I think the most important discussion is like to wait for evidence, or we're gonna end
Sure.
up having to follow into all the conspiracy theories.
Right. Right.
No,
And
like they,
evaluate your sources too. I mean, you can't just go to like the Onion and say what they, accept what they say is true when they're clearly ironic.
yeah,
They're just
yeah,
making fun of the situation. But
yeah.
yeah, so many people take anything that appears on the internet and passes it along as truth. And we really need to be more careful about that.
Yes, yes. I think the power of the access of anything you can find online, just unhappily, we have to recognize that we have more ignorant and gullible people
Yeah.
in the planet than, that's why we have like we can see by the YouTube, for example, that is an independent media.
Yeah,
You have like what is more popular. It's
right.
not the scientists and the smart things and science and studies going more popular, no, or the mythical. I just
Book,
saw the other
crystals,
day people on
magnetic.
Twitter saying about how Joe Rogan is exploding, is dominating the planet, and it's like sure, because he just everything is possible for him.
Yeah.
Postmodernism is perfect because he
Yeah.
just falls into all the conspiracy theories. He spreads all the mythical crazy ideas. It's
And
possible. It's
that's
online.
that's that's just people who are wrong. There's so many people out there that are actually spreading misinformation, information that they know is wrong, and they go out there and put it out there just to confuse people. Hi, is this
Say hi.
Shiva? Is this Shiva?
This is Shiva.
How cute.
Yeah.
Hi, Shiva.
Can you sing something?
Mommy. Mommy.
That's right.
Mama, go.
Doing what she sees her mommy doing, talking on the microphone. Hi.
Say hi.
Hi.
Very good.
So cute.
Good morning.
Mommy.
Say good afternoon.
Mommy. Hi.
That you don't say yet, no?
Mommy.
A
But
bunny.
she's a handful.
Hi. My push.
Say, I'm two. Can you say how old are you? Oh, say, I'm two.
Ooh.
Close enough.
Close. Doesn't
Well, I think
so
I'm going
yeah,
to go downtown and set up an Ask an Atheist booth. I still have 2 hours before the meetup tonight.
you started the street epistemology booth. You're setting this. Is that recent? How long
Well,
have?
no, it's not street epistemology,
Okay.
but it's similar in that I
Okay.
just go downtown. I set at a little table and put up a sign saying "Ask an Atheist."
Oh, cool.
So if people want to, they can come by and ask me questions. If they don't, they can just keep walking.
Yeah.
But I can do it about 2 hours at a time because that's as long as my parking meter will last.
Okay.
So
And
I've got
have you recorded, or are you doing that just for fun, just to talk to people?
just for fun. I haven't really started recording it yet, but although I've been doing it for about 3 or 4 years,
Oh.
I don't do it that often until I got retired. Now I do it a lot more often.
And how fun is that? Like a lot of people come to ask. Which type of questions do you receive? What is the most common?
The most common one is, "Why don't you believe in God?"
Yeah.
And my answer is, "There's no evidence."
Yeah.
And then the conversation starts then in earnest. Sure, there's evidence. Your evidence.
Yeah.
A lot of people just bring Bible. Have anybody like come back with Bible trying to
No,
go?
not really. No.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I bring a Bible though. If they have something they want to look up, we can look it up right there. I mean, I bring a
Oh, so
Bible.
they bring the Bible. That's nice.
Yeah. And I bet I could show them stuff that they wouldn't want to see anyway.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of my ideas. I've made some videos talking about epistemology. What is epistemology? More in Portuguese, because there's a lot of misuse of the terms of agnosticism and atheism and evidence. You know, I wanted to make it clear. So I made videos when I started the channel, like in February. I made a few videos talking about those. What does it mean? You know, and what is a valid or invalid evidence?
Right.
Because people really like to use evidence as personal experience, and I wanted to put it clear how
Yeah.
personal experience is not a good valid evidence.
No.
So
And anecdotal evidence is not good or valid either.
and there is a lot of thank you. I love you too.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with you.
I see a lot of atheists or young atheists feeling lonely and depressed and in nihilistic thoughts of like there's no moral in the world. But in some way, I actually think the atheist is a good way because I see a lot of religious people that hate humans, and
Yeah.
and I see a lot of
True.
atheists that are very. I consider myself a humanist, and I see atheism as a good way to be a humanist because we can recognize the weakness and the strength of humans,
Right.
and just recognize that we are just humans. There is not much of labels. We're people, and yeah, we can be good and bad, and there's not much in that.
I'm gonna have to get ready and go.
Yes. Yeah, let's try to do it tomorrow
Okay.
if
And I'll try to
if
find my
you're
camera.
available.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I enjoyed talking to you, and you sure have
Me
a cute
too.
little girl. Just
Okay.
give me a shout, and I'll try to have the camera.
Okay.
Okay.
Say
See you
bye bye.
later. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
See you.